Today we're going to talk about building a customer feedback system and what drives action. And that actually drives action. So let's talk about that. In one of the videos I spoke about NPS, Net Promoter Score, what it is, why it matters, and where it falls short. And I hope you've seen that video. I also mentioned that NPS tells you what customers feel, but they don't necessarily tell you why. It's one question, one number. It's useful, but it's limited. So here's what I've seen happen at a lot of companies. They send out all these NPS surveys, they collect the scores, they put together a nice report, and maybe they share it at a quarterly meeting and everyone nods, everyone applauds, and then nothing changes. The scores, they end up going into a dashboard somewhere and they just sit there. Now, that's not a feedback program, by the way. That's just data collection with no purpose. A real customer feedback, on the other hand, real customer feedback program doesn't just measure sentiment. It drives action. It helps you fix problems. It improves your product and it keeps your customer longer. Today, I want to talk about how to build that kind of program. And it's not complicated stuff, by the way. So these are practical things that actually work. Let's get into it. The customer feedback program has to work with the NPS scores, by the way. The problem is not with NPS alone. So let me start explaining why NPS by itself isn't enough. We talked about that and I'll relay that with the customer feedback program. NPS is what I call a relationship metric. It measures how the customer feels about you overall. It's like asking someone, how's your marriage? And they might say great or not great, but that one answer doesn't tell you what is actually working or not working. So to really understand your customers, you need more than just the relationship question. You need to understand specific moments in their journey. How did they feel when they first signed up? What was your onboarding experience like? How did they feel after they contact support? What did they think of the product itself? What about when they get their invoice? What do they think about their invoice? Accurate, reflective of reality. Each of these moments matters, and a customer might be happy overall but frustrated one specific part of the experience, or they might be unhappy overall, but if you knew the specific problem, you could perhaps fix it. So that's why a real feedback program, it goes beyond NPS. You need different types of feedback at different moments to get the full picture. Again, NPS is important. Combine it with the customer feedback program for more effectiveness. Let me walk you through the main types of feedback then that you should be thinking about. The first one is a relationship feedback we talked about. This is your NPS or overall satisfaction survey. You send it periodically, maybe quarterly, or maybe even twice a year to get a general sense of how customers feel about you. It's more of a health check on the overall relationship. Second is a transactional feedback, and this is feedback tied to a specific interaction. Now, right after the support ticket is closed, you ask, how was your support experience? Right after onboarding, you ask, hey, how did the setup process go? Now, this is very targeted, very pointed, and it tells you about those specific moments, not just the overall relationship. Third is product feedback. This is input on your actual product or service. What features do customers want? What is confusing to them? What is missing? And this can come from surveys, but also can come from feature requests, support tickets, user behavior data. Fourth is the churn feedback. So let's say a customer leaves, you want to know why. So you want to do your exit surveys or you want to do your exit interviews, and that can be incredibly valuable. You know why? Because even though you have lost them, understanding why helps you keep the next customer. You might not repeat the same mistakes. And fifth is unsolicited feedback. This is what customers say when you're not asking. Reviews on G2 or Capterra, comments on social media, things they mention in passing during a call. This feedback is kind of unstructured and messy, but it's often the most honest. A complete feedback program has all 5 of these working together. NPS gives you the overall health. Transactional feedback tells you about specific moments. And the product feedback, it helps guide your roadmap. Your churn feedback explains why you're losing people. And the unsolicited feedback, it catches what you might miss otherwise. Timing and frequency is also important to make note. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about timing because this matters more than people think. For relationship service like NPS, I recommend a quarterly or for your key accounts, and maybe twice a year for everyone else. You don't want to over survey. If you're asking customers how they feel every month, they're going to look upon you as noise. They'll stop responding, or worse, they'll get annoyed. For transactional feedback though, the key is immediacy. Ask right after the interaction while it is fresh in everyone's mind. If someone had a support experience, ask them the next day or the following day, but well within a week, what happened. If it's anything past that, they might not remember the details and they might not respond at all. For product feedback, it depends on your release cycle. If you're shipping new features every few weeks, you might want ongoing feedback mechanisms built into the product. If you do bigger releases less often, maybe a survey after each major release is sent out. And for churn feedback that I spoke about a few moments ago, ask at the point of cancellation or shortly after. Don't wait. The longer you wait, the less likely they will respond and the less they'll remember about why they left. So one more thing on timing, be mindful of survey fatigue. A customer who just got an NPS survey last week will probably not be welcoming of more surveys in that same week, So you time them, you stagger them. It's a strategic decision at that point. You're not bombarding your customers. That might backfire on you, by the way. So closing the loop on this, here's a part that most companies get wrong. And that is around the closing the loop. Like I mentioned, closing the loop means responding to feedback and taking action on it. And this is where feedback programs succeed or fail. Getting feedbacks and not working upon it doesn't help. Let me give you a simple example. A customer gives you an NPS of 5 and say your reporting feature sucks. What happens next? In a lot of companies, nothing happens. The score, it sits in a database. The comment sits there and no one is following up. However, in a good feedback program, someone actually reaches out and says, hey, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. Can you tell us a little bit more about what is not working with the reports? We would love to understand so we can improve. And most customers, they would love to give you feedback at that point. That conversation might even save the relationship. At a minimum, you'll learn something useful. Now, you cannot personally follow up with everyone, obviously, but you can prioritize. I would say definitely follow up with any detractor. Follow up with any account above a certain revenue threshold. Follow up with any feedback that indicates an urgent problem. And here's something important. Closing the loop also means telling customers when you have acted on their feedback. This is so important. Hey, you mentioned our reports were hard to use 6 weeks ago. We just released a new reporting dashboard. Have a look at it. And can you give us some feedback? Is this what you'd like to have seen then? You know what that tells a customer? That their feedback matters, that you actually listen. That builds loyalty in a way that no marketing campaign can. Turning feedback into action is mission critical for your organization. Beyond individual follow-ups, you need a system to turn the feedback into organizational action. And what does this mean? It means aggregating the feedback. It means finding the patterns and routing it to the people who can actually do something about it. Product complaints should go to the product team. The support issues, they go to the support team or the support leadership. The billing complaints, they go to people like me, CFOs, finance. Onboarding problems go to customer success. So I recommend, again, a regular review cadence, maybe monthly. You bring all of these leaders from all of these domains together, whether it's product, support, success, finance, and you review the customer feedback, have a 360-degree view of the customer feedback and what are the common themes that come out of it? What is getting worse? What is getting better? What are we going to do about it? And then track whether these things are actually improving over time. If customers keep complaining about the same thing for 6 months over and over again and nothing changes, your feedback program is just noise at that point. It's not driving action. Okay, it becomes an accountability issue. One thing that helps is tying feedback to the priorities. When customers keep asking for the same feature or keep complaining about the same problem, that should influence your roadmap. Customer feedback should not be the only input, but it should be a very important one. So, we are finance people and we talk about metrics. So let me tell you what are the key metrics that I think we ought to track. Response rate is important. What percentage of customers respond to your surveys? If it's too low, you might not be getting a representative sample. Time to follow up is important. How quickly are you reaching out to detractors or customers with urgent issues? Feedback volume by category. What are the people complaining about the most? Are you seeing any repeat issues? Are the same problems showing up over and over? Track it. And then track whether there is some improvement over time. Are the issues that you're addressing actually getting better now? So with that in mind, the customer feedback program it goes hand in hand with NPS. And the key takeaways are as follows. NPS alone is not enough. A real feedback program, it includes relationship surveys. It includes transactional feedback, product input, churn analysis, unsolicited comments. Each tells you something different. Each lends more flesh to the bone. Number two, closing the loop is where most companies fail. Follow up with the unhappy customers and tell the customers when you have acted on their feedback. And that is what builds trust. And number three, feedback is useless if it does not drive action. So aggregate the patterns, route them to their respective teams, review them regularly and quickly, and determine whether things are actually improving. A good customer feedback program is not about collecting data alone. It's about listening, it's about learning, and it's about getting better. Thanks for watching. So in the next session, I'll be talking about how CFOs should work with the sales team. And that's one of the most important relationships in any company. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.